Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a gaming news wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. This week's topics include multiple hints that Overwatch 2 beta is possibly starting soon, Lost Ark's impressive launch, video game rights to The Lord of the Rings going up for auction, and more. As always, discussion timestamps can be found in the description below, but right before you skip ahead, just a quick reminder to ring that sub notification bell to be alerted to new Saturday episodes and stay up to date with gaming news highlights. Now, before I move on, just a quick word from this video's sponsor, Squarespace. I built my website, Rhykker.com, using Squarespace, and I was able to do everything myself, quickly and easily and with zero education in the field, all thanks to how easy Squarespace is to work with. Watch how easily I update my Diablo 3 page to embed my latest Season 25 YouTube videos. Everything was set up with some templates that I was able to easily customize to my needs, no knowledge of coding required. You can even connect your social media profiles to automatically push website content to your socials, and even set up members-only areas with exclusive content. Basically, if you want to build a website, I recommend Squarespace. And Squarespace is currently offering my viewers 10% off your first purchase with them. Just go to squarespace.com/Rhykker or click the link in the description to sign up and start building your online presence. That's squarespace.com/RHYKKER and use code Rhykker to get started today. In our first quick story, Valve's Portal 1 and 2 are coming to the Nintendo Switch, right around the time that Valve is releasing its competing handheld gaming platform, the Steam Deck. For Portal 2, you'll be able to play its co-op mode with local split screen and online multiplayer. Release date is this year. The Portal games are great, and I'm pretty enticed to actually pick this up on Switch, particularly for that local multiplayer. But just remember folks, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. In Overwatch 2 news, we may have a beta right around the corner. On February 4th, Helba, the owner of BlizzTrack.com, a website that datamines updates push to Blizzard games through, space magic, noticed an update that they believe means Blizzard is testing Overwatch 2 on Battle.net, or in other words, beta is coming. Now, Helba's been running BlizzTrack for years, has a robust understanding of the patch naming conventions Blizzard uses, and has observed past patterns, so while this is not confirmation of anything, it is pretty solid evidence. And it's not the only evidence. Now, prior to this, an Overwatch content creator allegedly came forward anonymously with a full-on voice changer to hide his identity to leak that more information will be coming about the release of Overwatch 2 in the third week of February. This content creator claims to have been part of a meeting that took place in December between Overwatch 2 developers and Overwatch content creators. And at this point, it is public knowledge that such meetings exist. The question here is whether this anonymous person was actually present at such a meeting and is being honest about what was spoken of at that meeting. But that's still not all. Content creator Metro, who leaked Overwatch 2 years ago, corroborated the anonymous leak as well as the BlizzTrack info by saying the following.
Alright. I'm not the leaker this time. I mean, nobody really leaked anything other than the devs uploading the beta, you know? I guess one guy in the dev meeting leaked it. But yeah, I think it's happening soon, guys.
He also seemed adamant that the beta would not be just for use in the upcoming Overwatch League esports event.
Dev build is probably for Overwatch League in March? No. No. Oh, first of all, Overwatch League is April, but no. No mega lol.
Now, if Overwatch 2 is not releasing in 2022, which is what has been suggested by Activision Blizzard during their earnings calls, then it does seem quite a bit earlier than usual to release a beta. It'll be almost a full year at least before release. And typically Blizzard does betas about 6 months before release. But hey, third week of February is coming up, so we'll see soon enough if this is legit or not. It was also discovered this week that Blizzard is working on an unannounced RPG set in an existing universe. This was discovered via job posting for a lead content designer on an unannounced project. The team is currently small, and is looking to hire someone that can present designs that blend compelling gameplay and storytelling to help create play areas, quests, characters, and dialogue. They need to creatively implement story-focused content and will be responsible for championing a clear vision for mechanically and narratively interesting missions within an established Blizzard IP. And they need to lead other designers to craft a framework to support replayable narrative content. They also need to have the ability to craft engaging narratives and design mechanics to support them. And it's a bonus if they can demonstrate the ability to craft single-player missions, quests, stories, characters, and events within game development toolsets. Other extra points for the position include experience with world building and writing for role-playing games, experience creating quests, points of interest, and characters within a shared world, experience creating and running pen and paper RPG campaigns and/or live-action RPGs. Geez, I wonder if I should apply to this. And a love of RPG games, tabletop or computer. Now we know this is not the survival game. The survival game is not in an established IP. This is an RPG game in an established IP. That means Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, or Overwatch. Basically, yeah, Blizzard has some older games, but it's unlikely to be Lost Vikings. So could this be for World of Warcraft 2? Could it be a StarCraft project? Could it be some new Diablo RPG? Given we've already got Diablo 4 going on and Overwatch 2, I doubt it's for those franchises, which really leaves World of Warcraft 2 and some kind of StarCraft RPG. And I encourage you folks to sound off in the comments with what you think it could be. In other news, the gaming and film rights for The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are coming up for auction. The Saul Zaentz company has decided to sell the Tolkien holdings it's had since 1976, and estimates suggest that the rights will sell for at least $2 billion. That's like 3% of an Activision Blizzard. It's likely no coincidence that this comes right around the time of Amazon releasing details and first images of its upcoming series, Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power, which is set to release on September 2nd. Now, Amazon is the prime candidate to buy up the rights, as the company had already worked on an MMO set in the Lord of the Rings universe, which was scrapped in April of last year after Tencent bought up the company that Amazon had partnered with to make the game, and then they got into contract disputes with Amazon, and the deal just fell through. It's almost like it's a bad thing when a couple companies start buying up all the game devs, and then we, the gamers, suffer because games get cancelled because of dumb corporate garbage. Now, copyright over Tolkien's works is, to put it in Facebook status terms, complicated. The rights to his various works are divided up in a number of odd ways. Some companies have rights to The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, but not The Silmarillion. Some have rights to make a TV show of no more than 8 episodes, and it goes on. Lawyers have made a lot of money over the years off of people arguing over who has the rights to do what, including a recent quarrel between the Saul Zaentz company and Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Having made a number of Lord of the Rings video games. And speaking of Warner Bros., it likely is not coincidental that they issued a DMCA copyright takedown of the Total War Rise of Mordor mod on the ModDB. The mod, a not-for-profit project made for game Total War Attila, still remains up on other mod distribution sites for now, and the dev says he will keep working on the mod, though he may just rebrand it to avoid any further issues. Now, I'm guessing Warner Bros. Was just making a desperate attempt to prove that they are still using the Lord of the Rings gaming rights. It's just so that they don't lose them. But it's always a bad look when you go after the modding community. In last Epoch news, the devs are hiring for a number of positions at their company, including art, development, QA, sound, and HR. If you're interested in joining the team of a promising upcoming ARPG, do check out the link in the description. In quick Path of Exile news, the game, again, had a super smooth expansion and league launch, one of their smoothest yet. They've broken their concurrent player records, and players are overall reporting a lot of positivity. The leveling experience this league is improved, the league mechanic is being well received, and overall people seem to feel that the game is in a good state. The only real criticism of the league that I've seen has to do with the UI elements, and Bex confirmed on Friday that the devs will be making improvements to the Archnemesis UI. But I turn the question to you folks. We're a week in now. How are you feeling about Archnemesis? Sound off in the comments. In Lost Ark news, the Western launch of the game happened this week, first with the Founders Pack early access for those who paid to play. That was on Tuesday, and then yesterday the free-to-play access opened up. Developer Smilegate announced that they sold 1.5 million Founders Packs for early access. And on the Founders Pack early access day alone, concurrent player counts reached over 530,000 for a game that will be going free-to-play just a couple days later. And then on launch day Friday, that record was smashed with the concurrent player count of insert new record here. Then, in the lead up to Lost Ark's launch, the devs revealed that they would be limiting the creation of characters by new players on servers that have extensive queue times. This basically meant that free-to-play players would not be able to play on the same servers as the early access Founders Pack players. Or more specifically, that if the Founders Pack players wanted to play with free-to-play players, they would have to make new characters, losing their head start, and also the Founders Pack benefits could only be redeemed once, so these paying players would then have no benefit whatsoever, cosmetic or otherwise, over the players on free-to-play servers if they wanted to play with their friends. In response, the devs addressed this by allowing Founders Pack purchasers to redeem their Founders Pack features on a second character as long as they do so by Monday. This at least allows these Founders Pack purchasers to play with their friends on free-to-play servers without losing what they paid for. However, what a lot of people are asking for is some kind of free server transfer. But unfortunately, this just isn't a feature that is robustly built into Lost Ark, so while it is a possibility, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Then come launch day, we got an alert that launch was being delayed. This was due to deployment issues, and the matter was supposed to have been resolved within hours. The game did end up launching several hours later, rapidly coming close to 1 million concurrent players, and the character creation limits actually started to get rolled back rather quickly. Free-to-play players were able to create characters on some of the servers that were previously deemed too populated. Now, if you want to try out Lost Ark, just be aware this is not a Diablo-like game, despite what you might hear from other people. It is not an ARPG. It is an MMORPG. A damn fun MMORPG, but there's been a lot of misconceptions spread over the years, people making lots of comparisons to Diablo. This game is closer to World of Warcraft than it is to Diablo. It's a big game, it's a grinding game, there's a ton of stuff to do. It's the kind of game that you have to put a lot of hours into to fully experience, and I encourage you to check out the director's trailer to get a good idea of what Lost Ark is about. The director even says,
"It would be unfair to compare us to a masterpiece MMORPG that you, or even I, went crazy about, such as World of Warcraft or Diablo, the Bible of hack and slash."
And if you do check out Lost Ark, and it's free, so why not, you can check out my class overview video for some help on picking a class to play. And if you want to catch up to your buddies who are already playing, then you can check out my video on speed leveling. Do note though that my number one piece of advice here is have fun. Despite the suggestions I gave in my class overview video, I went with the option that was the most fun for me to play. And I don't regret that decision. Yet. We'll see when I get to endgame and PvP and all that. I'm playing a sorceress. In Diablo news, the Diablo 2 PTR for patch 2.4 went down this week, but is expected to come up again in the future to test ladder before the patch launches. PezRadar said, quote, "This doesn't mean PTR is over, but we expect PTR to be offline for a week or so while we prep the next iteration and include ladder on the next launch of PTR testing. Along with ladder, we expect additional balance changes. Once we have the timing, date, and details of those changes, we will be posting those and informing the community." Elsewhere, PezRadar added, quote, "The reason why the ladder date isn't listed here is because it is contingent on the 2.4 date. We won't release ladder immediately on the 2.4 date to ensure that there aren't any weird game-breaking bugs that spawn up on the release of the patch. If there are, we will address them immediately, and ladder will start thereafter. If there isn't, we will start ladder still a little after 2.4 launch to ensure there is proper time for everyone to plan ahead on logging on and racing, as that is a key thing that people really like to do, especially since it is global." Then separately, D2 expert and Maxroll team member MacroBioBoy released a video on his analysis of the new 2.4 upgrade set item cube recipe. in which, after thorough mathematical investigation, he has determined which set items are worth upgrading with the new recipe. I encourage you to check out the video for yourself, but some quick highlights include the weapon from Alder's set is worth upgrading, the belt and bow from the Arctic set, Death's Sash, Huanen's weapon, the Immortal King set, Naj's set, Natalia's boots if you are a kick assassin, and the shield from Orphan's Call. But again, check out his video to understand why and to catch the details that I've omitted. Lastly, for D2R, Carbot released another video in his Diablo parody series, which perfectly captures the dueling experience. And in our final bit of news here, Diablo Fans has datamined some unreleased max-level gems from Diablo Immortal. You can check those out by following the link in the description. Diablo Fans also released their Diablo Immortal model viewer. With this tool, you can go ahead and view all the datamined models from Diablo Immortal right in your web browser. And that's gonna wrap up this week's video. But do be sure to have checked out last week's video in which we discussed whether the buffs in Diablo 2's patch 2.4 were too strong. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you see on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can consider pledging on YouTube or Patreon and unlocking behind-the-scenes content, monthly virtual hangouts, and more. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more gaming content.